say so yet. Yes, now.
Okay, here we go. Oh, I love that. You've got a big smile on your face, Padma. Hi, everybody. I'm Aimee Mosco. You probably know me if you're watching this video, but I have here today with me Padma Aon Prakasha, and one of my favorite authors, just so everybody knows. Padma has been gracious enough to agree to do a very special series of activations. I'm going to let him tell you the details of this, but before we get started, or before you share with us the details of this I Am series of workshops, I would like you to please tell everyone a little bit about yourself, what you'd like them to know. Padma.
Well, my awakening really happened from the age of 4 years onwards, but a really big moment in my life was when, in my early 20s, was when Christ Yeshua came to me in a meditation, and there was so much love in that meeting, in that visit. And I wasn't Christian, I wasn't into anything religious, but there was so much love in that meeting and so much joy that I knew it was real. It's only through the heart, really, I feel that anything, we can feel anything to be truly real and genuine. So shortly after that, I went through a whole series of initiations in the Indian tradition, culminating in me sitting in samadhi, which is the highest form of meditation possible to a human being, which is a very drunken, intoxicated, blissful, ecstatic state by you just being totally still and the breath totally calming down to maybe 3 breaths a minute or maybe less in some moments. And so me sitting in that space for 2 months for about 14, 15 hours a day after being initiated by my teacher, who is a Tibetan Buddhist master called Sri Om in London. After that, my whole reality changed, obviously, because my whole nervous system, soul, and beyond into the divine was totally transformed. And then one day, my teacher, Sri Om, rang me, and it was very rare that I picked up the phone at that point. No, but I picked up the phone because I knew it was him. And he said, Padma, it's time for you to step out of nirvana. And I said, okay, because of course, in nirvana, you're not attached to anything. But it was the my absolute home, and I'm sure it's an absolute home for everyone, this deep, intoxicated, breathless bliss. And you don't really want to leave it because that's all there is. Even when you open your eyes, you're still in that bliss. So shortly after that, I began writing and teaching. And I was put onto my path of service work and dharma for the sake of humanity rather than just me sitting there in a blissed out state for 15 hours a day. Um, and then came, the Christ Blueprint, which was this profound series of meetings with my dear brothers and sisters or apostles of Christ Yeshua, including Mary Magdalene, who was such an incredibly radiant, holy, and sensual woman, all embodied in one package. It was quite amazing to meet her and very joyful and delightful and heartful as well. So she was really I would say, the inspiration or driving force behind the Christ Blueprint, and a lot of my work that came after that, both with books and with teaching retreats all over the world and leading groups to sacred sites all over the world after that.
Wow. Well, that is a beautiful account of your experiences. Very brief, because I know your experiences are vast. And I am going to share in a minute, I'm going to share Padma's also brief bio, just so you can take a screenshot of it and then revisit it, kind of sit with it and connect with Padma's energy. I'll share that in a second. Well, actually, I'm going to share it right now because I want to also share the cover of the Christ Blueprint. And I want to also share that I had a very profound experience with the Christ Blueprint. I mean, this was a book that almost jumped off the shelf to be in my hands and became like my version of the Bible for many years. I mean, I carried this book on my body. I know that sounds silly, but that's the truth. I mean, I felt so connected to the information. And even now, as you're speaking, Padma, I feel the energy of your words. Like I feel what's coming through you is something beyond just the words that you're saying. So probably anyone else that's listening to this that's connected with this information is feeling it too. And it's also a testament to the power of sound healing. So, and I'm going to ask you about that in a second, but let me just share this to the screen. Okay, this is Padma's bio and a picture of the book jacket for the Christ Blueprint. Okay, so look at the symbols on that. I mean, I feel almost like when I look at this picture on the screen, I can just feel a stream of energy coming from the symbols. Okay, so please, if you're watching this video, screenshot this so you can read about a little bit more about Padma. And then also on the bottom, notice his website URL is there. And I encourage you to visit his website and look at his other works as well, because this is not the only book he's written. You can see the names of the books down there at the bottom, but please visit his website. Okay, so back to you, Padma. I'd like to ask you to please tell us a little bit about the I am codes, okay, and the sound healing element of that.
So Yeshua, Christ Yeshua, wanted to empower his apostles and indeed all human beings into their own sovereign self. And of course, there is only one self. So this is the same self that Yeshua himself was inhabiting and being and expressing from and teaching and transmitting and healing from. So he came up with this series of the I am codes in his last year in Palestine before the crucifixion and resurrection and him then leaving to go elsewhere. So he recognized that people have this tendency to worship an external God. And not to say that there isn't an external God, but there's also that reflection inside ourselves, that internal God self that is there for everyone. And so Yeshua obviously was totally in that. And he saw that people also needed to have a really direct, simple way into that through the heart. So the I am codes are Aramaic mantras that he spoke, which have very profound wisdom teachings behind them. But they're actual mantras that you can sound and breathe into different parts of your nervous system and chakras and body. Because Yeshua was a great exponent of the breath. So he called it coming into Allah. So Allah is a universal breathing field. It's what everything in creation is encompassed in, and it's all breathing. It's all alive. It's all in this subtle motion, almost like a fluid. And all life, you, me, and everyone else is within this field, within this breathing field. And so it's within the essence of the breath, not just a breath like the but the essence of that breath or the refined essence within the breath that we then tune into and actively, consciously become a part of that Allah. And even the sound, Allah. You can hear it within the breath if you really tune into it. So
Oh,
in these I am codes, that they are actually Aramaic mantras, not Sanskrit mantras, not Tibetan mantras, but Aramaic mantras. And these are the actual mantras that Yeshua himself put together, that he composed, and that he then gave to people as these direct tools and teachings for people to enter into that I am presence, which is that which is beyond time and space, that great peace and love and great happiness and joy is the true nature of the I am, but it's also completely empty. It has nothing else apart from that. So there is no ego, there is no soul in that. it's gone beyond all of that to the witness of the soul, which is I am. And also, there's no individual self in that. There's just the one self. And so Yeshua understood that this would be easier for people to access rather than some far off, distant, alien kind of father god in the sky somewhere 2000 years ago. And of course, this is a huge thing in the Indian tradition as well, which talks about the aham, or the I am, as being the gateway into the divine and actually being part of the divine as well. So Yeshua was echoing really a lot of the ancient Egyptian teachings that came before him that are the precursor to modern day Christ consciousness and Gnostic teachings, and also the Tantric and Vedic and Indian and Tibetan teachings on the I am as well, which is where he was partially educated. So the I am is that pure presence that has no karma, that has no memory, is just that pure presence of peace. And as Yeshua said, the peace that passes all understanding.
And peace for all of us begins in here, right? So,
Exactly.
well, I feel like you just gave us a workshop. Okay, so everybody, this is just a little taste of what you'll get if you join us for Pasha's. I'm sorry, Padma. I wanted to change your name there for a second. You join us for Padma's events. This is a little taste of what you'll receive. Okay, thank you for that explanation because it's not necessarily like um, the first thing we think of, or it wasn't the first thing that I thought of when I read the description. I needed a little more context. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us. And I would really like to read a testimonial from someone who has taken your workshop, your I Am Codes workshop. Let's see here. Just so people can get an idea of what someone else has experienced when they've participated. Okay, so this is from someone who took a workshop from you in the past. And this, I don't know if this is a female or a male, but initials are RH. It seems too easy to describe an important event or experience as life-changing, and that the phrase is the one which continually comes to mind to describe the I Am Code workshop. I had concerns beforehand that I may lack the knowledge or experience that other attendees may have, but clear and concise information and explanations combined with precise guidance allowed me to immerse and absorb this deeply sacred teaching. Those days have completely changed how I think and feel. So
Mm.
now this is interesting because this is someone who came to your workshop who felt like they might lack the appropriate knowledge to integrate or to receive and integrate what you're imparting, yet they had this profound experience. And that is important because I think a lot of times many of us feel like we're less than, or we don't know enough, or we're not worthy, but this is something that's accessible to everyone. So
Of course. Yeah, of course. And Yeshua, you have to remember 2000 years ago, he was teaching to fishermen and people who couldn't write and read. And sometimes he could barely speak, actually, you know.
yeah,
So he had distilled all these ancient Egyptian teachings and Indian teachings of the highest enlightenment traditions, and he refined and distilled them and simplified them into this beautifully accessible breath, sound meditations that anyone can do. Literally anyone can do them. Even a child can do them. My son has done them. He's 11. So he finds it easy to do as well. So literally anyone can do it. And this is why Yeshua gave it to us in this way, because as he said, my yoke is easy. He wanted everything to be accessible. And the best way to do that is through the heart.
yeah,
And so the I am codes are all powered by the heart. And Aramaic is a really heartfelt language that we feel. So, for example, one of the I am codes is Inanna Lachma Dahai.
That
And
makes
that's
you want to just take a breath, right?
so so literally you would be breathing those different words into the heart, into the root chakra in this instance. But some of the other I am codes, you'll be breathing into the crown and to the chakras out of the body, for example. So, the creation chakra, which is at the beginning of creation. Then there's a sun, which is a solar Christ consciousness, how we receive life. That's one of our chakras too, in the ancient Egyptian understanding of it, which Christ obviously fully knew about and was initiated into. So it's very simple and it's very direct because all you have to do is breathe in the sound and that's it. And there's a breathing that comes before that allows the whole nervous system to relax and open up as well. So Yeshua taught these to the apostles and to others of his followers at that time in Palestine, and then the apostles continued it on as they went around the world to Greece, to India, to France, and Turkey, and so forth. So it is a lineage teaching from the originals and coming originally from Yeshua. And so the translations of it come directly from the Aramaic, not from the Greek or not from any other language. So there's a profound wisdom and understanding that comes with that. But it's also very simple as well. And that's what I love about it, the simplicity of the heart and the breath and the sound combining together through the guidance of, God realized love being such as Yeshua makes it really accessible and really powerful as well to experience that divine love within yourself and then have that tool and technology afterwards to then be able to do that at will. I mean, I was doing one of them this morning, Inanna Allah Tao, which is I am Inanna, the first, Allah, and the last, Tao. And that rocked my boat all day. Just, just doing just doing that for 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Um, because when you are ripe, as Yeshua said, min bisha in Aramaic, when you are ripe, when you are ready, when you are open, when you are willing, your heart is open and you desire it, God will come in its full power. That divinity will ignite within you in its full power and divine love. And that love is the greatest joy that any human being can ever have. And it's well beyond our human loves that we experience with our partners or family or friends or pets, or even just with all of humanity. So that divine love is, really brings us into that understanding that love is the essence of all existence. But you have to really feel that, not just once, but many times to really get that. It's a direct experience. So
Right.
that's what the I am codes really lead into, is having that direct experience within yourself. So it's not about the external God, it's about that God self, that I am God self that you are, and that is here now.
Wow. Okay. So thank you for sharing all of that information, Padma. I think that gives us a clearer sense of where this workshop will be leading and what the point of it is. So I really appreciate you expanding on the explanation. And so please, everyone, join us. If you feel called to be at this workshop, we'll post in social media, we'll post all the details of the workshop. And then, of course, you can visit Padma's website for more info. I'm going to share that to the screen again to close out the video. Thank you so much, Padma.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. All right, so again, you can see on the bottom of the screen, Padma's website. All right, and I hope to see you at the workshops. Thank you, everyone.